We're going to move on now and look at another game. The All Blacks are getting underway for 2021, and that's always a big deal.
It is a big deal.
They're waiting in the wings long enough, but now as July rocks up, the All Blacks are in action, and we're going to get a chance to see the first All Black team that Ian Foster and his coaching ticket brain trust put together.
Yeah.
And it's against Tonga. This is going to be also in Mount Smart Stadium, where
it's on the same day, actually.
Where the Maori are playing Samoa.
Yeah.
In Auckland.
It's the first time that's happened, actually, that the All Blacks and the Maori play in the same stadium, same day.
Well, why not?
Why not? Indeed, it doesn't seem strange.
A good celebration of Pacific rugby, I dare say, and Islander rugby as well over the weekend. But they're taking on Tonga. They're going to take them on on Saturday. That's at 7:05 local time. David Murphy of Australia taking the game from a referee's point of view.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, I don't expect a Tonga win, but it's definitely going to be fun to watch.
It will be fun to watch. The All Blacks have named an interesting squad themselves. We don't actually have the first team. It'll be released probably either by the time you watch this, but sometime later during the week. But there are some really good quality heads in there, and Sam Whitelock has been named to captain that side as well. A few ones that we know, your Artie Sevillas, your Satutus, even your Patrick Tuipulotus, Brodie Retallick back in the mix, having returned. All of that's exciting. And then a few new heads, like Aumua at hooker, exciting to partner Taylor and Coles. That is definitely exciting. You have Ethan Blackadder, Ethan de Groot, 22-year-old prop, getting in there for a fresh cap. That'll be exciting as well. Another new cap, Ethan Blackadder, in there on merit on Crusaders form. He's been brilliant. Finley Christie as well, really good scrum half. I've been banging on his drum going why don't Leinster sign him? He's really good. That's my thought, if he's not going to get an All Black knock, but here he is getting an All Black cap, so maybe that's scratched now.
Bodie back in the squad as well, in the back line, your usual stalwarts. I don't know if they'll go for their full shout for this game, but I definitely think one of the things that they'll be looking to resolve over the course of this series involving Fiji as well, in advance of the Rugby Championship, is what exactly to do with that midfield.
Yeah.
Now it seems like at the end of last season, I think that midfield was kind of at sea. I think Rico's confidence suffered really from the moment he dropped that ball over the line last year. He just looked a different man.
And yet he was so good for the Blues, and it was so exciting because he was what they needed.
And outside of that, at 12 and 13, they were just a little clunky. They weren't really. They were kind of nuts and bolts men who weren't linking well, and there just wasn't a threat through the midfield. There was neither brilliant distribution nor threatening running going on in that midfield. As good as Leonard Brown can be and good Hugh can be, it just wasn't working.
Mape can be, and all of these guys can be good, but it didn't quite gel in an All Blacky kind of shape that really unpicks teams with devastating passing and distribution and all the things like that.
But Scott Robertson may have resolved the problem by moving David Havili to centre.
David Havili to centre has been a revelation. It's been one of the great finds of the season, and he finds himself in here now. Potential to mix with Rico and be a very, very fast distributing combination that could be very, very good. So and more options in that midfield. The other one they'll be wanting to resolve, and there are all kinds of headlines from stuff to Dakota NZ and stuff on the Bowden Mo'unga debate. What do you do? Do you play Bowden at 15? Do you play Bowden at 10? Or can you really drop Richie Mo'unga because he's playing brilliant stuff? What do you do with Damien McKenzie? What do you do with Jordy Barrett? What do you do with Will Jordan?
The stocks are crazy. In those particular positions, the stocks are just wild. It really is hard to fathom putting an A team together out of that bunch, because you can make a salient argument for any of them. Damien McKenzie was just a hero this year for the Chiefs. He was their talisman. He was everywhere. He was playing 10 and 15 simultaneously for the Chiefs, really. He was just doing everything for them. He was defending the backfield. He was first receiver. So it felt like he was passing to himself sometimes. He was just showing up everywhere. And he was coming up also with clutch scores, both from goal kicks and from tries. He was just constantly coming up with clutch plays and dragging that Chiefs team, kicking and screaming all the way to an Aotearoa final. Damien McKenzie's form is incredible. He's one of the funnest.
His qualities are obviously there. We all know how devastating he is. So do you do Bodie and him?
Well, then the other thing.
Then what do you do with Richie?
Jordy Barrett had one of the great individual performances I've ever seen this year when I racked up, I don't know how many points. It was 30 points or something like that. Scored a hat-trick, was head and shoulders the best player in that Hurricanes team. Even Dane Cole's coming back was outshone by him at times. And then you
kicking
have
monster kicks from 60 metres as well. He's got that in his locker.
And then you have the best 10 in the world right now in Richie Mo'unga, and the best player in the world right now in Bowden Barrett.
Yeah. And then that's not to mention how many times have I had to watch a highlights package and hear Nisbo go, "Well, Jordan scores again," because then you're leaving out Will Jordan and he keeps scoring tries.
Tony Johnson, that's
Tony Johnson, is it? Nisbo's
yeah.
not doing that one. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but I could tell by the impression. It's Tony Johnson.
But he just keeps saying it though. He keeps popping. But it's like the stocks, as you say, just
is there
ridiculous.
A case for getting the 4 of them? Is there any way you can get the 4 of them into a 23?
Like one of them at lock or something.
Maybe centre. I don't know. Like it just in terms of just getting your quality out there. Like does it work? Could it work? Is
any of them a Ben Smithish kind of player who can just do it all?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're all specialists. It doesn't really work. I don't think you can play Mackenzie at 13 or even Bowden or Geordie Barrett in the centre. Doesn't seem right. Mo'unga is an out and out 10. So it's just wildly good stocks in the 10 and 15, and any combination will work. For the record, I think you have to go with Mo'unga at 10 and Barrett at 15 for me, purely because Mo'unga is outrageous at the moment. He's just dragging the Crusaders out of the fire with just supremely good players, and I think Bodie is unique in his capacity to cover the backfield as well as be dangerous from there. His speed and his read of the game is on another level, even to Damien McKenzie. It's like McKenzie's not far off, but Bodie is just insane.
Do you keep him on the bench then? What do you do with
Jordan? I think D-Mac above Will Jordan for me.
It's crazy stuff.
And Geordie, who's in there as well.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. And then the other one that I'm excited about is Brodie Retallick back in the mix. I'd like to see Retallick and Whitelock. May not see it this time against Tonga, but I'd like to see that band back together because they are possibly the best.
If you're playing the Springboks, like, I know Brodie Retallick is great and Sam Whitelock's great, but how do you drop Patrick Tuipulotu?
Yeah, I know.
How do you drop him? Like, he was one of the best players for the All Blacks last year.
Again, crazy stocks, but I do want to see that band back together. Yeah. Maybe against this team, maybe in the East, because they have Pacific Islanders. You're going to see different combinations, but I do at least once want to see that band back
I think
together.
If you're playing the Springboks, I think you've got to start Tuipulotu.
Yeah,
for heft.
Well, he's the incumbent. Brodie will have to win his jersey back for sure.
Yeah, and even Whitelock is, like, he's brilliant.
Well, Whitelock's captain.
Yeah, well, there is that.
He's captain, So
what happened to the captaincy of who was captain last year?
Sam Cane.
Sam Cane, yeah.
He's dropped.
He's out. He's injured. He's out injured. I knew that. Yeah. So. Yeah, loose forwards are still great though, and plenty of jerseys up for grabs. Shannon Frizzell for the Highlanders, one of their best players. Kiri Ioane also fighting. Dalton Papali'i getting his chance.
Luke Jacobson's been awesome.
He was brilliant
as well. Yeah, Austin Satutu we know about. Kiri Ioane,
of course.
Artie, all of these guys, like really, really good stocks. Would you believe the All Blacks have some good players there?
It's so fun trying to. Yeah,
and then by contrast, I was reading an article about the Tonga, and apparently they couldn't select a few of their players for COVID reasons. So some of them they found like locally. There was a guy who's like literally. He's 9-to-5 workers and stuff, and they're going to be playing the All Blacks this week. So it's kind of,
and they're going to tear it up.
They're going to tear it up. They're going to be
world.
fresh from their day job to come in.
They're not going to have any shackles of professional rugby on their shoulders. And they're just going to cut loose on the All Blacks.
Maybe in the pub after.
I tell you, Ben Tamifuna is a part of the.
That's right, and he's been playing top flight rugby.
He has been in the form of his life. I know Big Ben is kind of a meme because he's just so humongous looking, and he's kind of, you'd pick him out of a crowd in any scenario or any context, but he has been a man inspired in a Bordeaux jersey. I watched him against, I believe it was Clermont, break the hearts out of them by taking like 2, 3, 4 jackal steals every time they got in. He's actually dialed in the body position to get to be immovable.
There's so much of him that you're not going to shift him. So
his jackal game has been on point. His scrummaging has been great, and certainly he'll have to be leading that young Tongan horde into battle.
I was seeing Sam Moley, who's the younger brother of 4-test All Black prop Atu Moley.
Oh yes,
but apparently he was in a tool shed, and the Tongan number called him, and he picked it up, and it was the coach saying like, "Oh Sam, do you fancy playing?" So it's just
and he did
fancy playing, and he will likely play. But so some would say this might be a mismatch, and it could be ugly for the Tongans, who are traditionally the biggest, strongest of the South Sea Islanders. not quite the quickest, sharpest generally.
Yeah. They're also they peak at World Cups.
They do.
This is the non-World
Cup season of Tonga, so we may see a kind of slightly rudderless entity against a bullish All Blacks who are gearing up for their own summer series, and then the Rugby Championship thereafter. I expect a bloodbath. Quite. Yeah, I do expect a lot of tries to not many, if any.
If that squad, whatever they go with, if that team plays to its potential, they do rack up an almighty number on Tonga. But it is the first game of the season, so it's hard to know.
And it is a good spectacle. And alongside the New Zealand Maori game, it's going to be just a great spectacle at,
great occasion.
At Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland for just a celebration of Islander rugby and All Black rugby, and it'll kickstart the summer series for all the rugby fans down there in good style.
Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you enjoyed that video, please be sure to like and subscribe. And hey, if you have an opinion of your own, if you disagree with what we're saying, leave a comment down below. We might just get back to you.